Hey you guys! I hope you're all doing well. You'll notice I've been sprinkling out some videos on YouTube and I really want to get connected with Patreon and share a special message with you guys. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to work with my higher self. I'd really like to do something positive because I think we all need some positive messages. Whenever my intention is positive, it's actually up to the universe. I don't get to decide. I've noticed there's some weird common themes going on. I've been really attracted to certain colors like intense yellows, oranges, reds, black. Like off-white. Not really sure why, but that's been really that keeps coming up when I make my pictures. I'm like, wow, I'm really getting into some kind of color scheme here. But I've been having so many crazy journeys in my own world. For me, I've been really feeling crunched. Like I actually was describing it to myself today. Like I feel like a hard-boiled egg, and my shell has been in somebody's grasp, and then it's just breaking into a million pieces, which is interesting because the Lucifer journey was all about the soul journey, which is really like soul fragmenting, but fragmenting as the gift of what you could define as an incarnation process in order to discover the self. And it's like it's all intermixed in here. Like this is a really big deal going on right now. Because the reality is, as a Christian, you need to just admit that you're a sinner and you can't help yourself. So come to Jesus, and that's the only way to get into heaven. We're the ones that chose to separate. We're the ones that chose to be the fallen angels. We're the Lucifers, We're the Lucifers. And when we start to see that we're the Lucifers, we're actually freaking amazing. Because the only true pathway to Christ consciousness is through separation, is through being a hard-boiled egg with the shell being broken into a bunch of pieces. And it's the only way to truly know who you are. And through this time, it's just like sometimes my spirit guides don't tell me anything. They don't tell me what to do. A lot of the time, they don't tell me what to do. Usually, I'm in the rhythm of I feel like I'm in the flow of the tide, so I just kind of know where I'm going next, or like I have the next inspiration. Sometimes that inspiration keeps rumbling, and sometimes it just crunches me like flat in my face. It's like, and I'm kind of like an ideas person, but my ideas, they either go somewhere or they just totally fall flat like a deflated balloon. I've had really big ideas that just came to a whopping standstill. But anyway, I don't even know where I'm going with that right now. I'm just talking to you guys about stuff. It feels really good just to make this video today because I wanted to have my Saturday to be a Patreon day where I get caught up with all the messages. And I wasn't aware that there's like a community section. I was aware of it right at the beginning and I totally forgot about it. I really am kind of a mindless computer person. Like Facebook, I'm only just now trying to be a little bit more Facebook friendly, but I still suck at Facebook. And Patreon, I know how to put the posts out there. I know how to read the comments, but sometimes I forget about the other tabs, and then I get messages too, and I need to go look at these messages. I can be a real dodo brain sometimes. But right now it's like all week I've been really looking forward to getting connected with you guys. I've got a bunch of psychic development videos in the rears that I'm ready to share. I just got to get the write-up out for them and get them up there, right? But I have so many ideas bumbling through my veins on where I want to go. I'm going to just tell you guys this idea, and it would be really awesome if you could post some messages. One idea that really hit me that I wanted to give it a try, and I just want to see what ideas come to you guys about this. But I'm really enjoying channeling anybody. Like historical people, usually channeling historical people, I got to get a feel for them, their style. And asking a historical person a question is a lot different feeling than asking like a deity or a Christ conscious figure, a goddess or a god figure a question. Because goddess god figures, they just emanate the all-knowing essence. And so I can really integrate into to their conversational speech much better than I can a soul, because the soul is kind of like the fragmented part of the higher self, of the all. And so the soul can I oftentimes am going into their energy field, and I'm feeling what could be their life experience, and it could, as a feelers type. I'm not more of like the messages I get are always very creative. So, but the idea was, if they're like, I'd really like if you had, like, I'd really like to hear you connect with Buddha, Abby. And I've always wanted to ask Buddha this specific question. It'd be cool if you could come up with a name and then a question that you would like me to ask this person. And I thought it'd be fun to make some mini vids and just see what comes forward for the group. And maybe these mini vids will end up on YouTube, because I have kind of like a psychotic need to just share with the world, but I would love for you to influence what I am sharing with the world while we get to share it too with each other. So that's one idea. I'd really like you guys to give me some ideas on that. That one was like hitting me really hard, and I was going to do a write-up, but I was like, I'm going to make them a video and then tell them, and then we'll see what comes. And all the while, like, I don't know, just like, gosh, it's been a crazy time for me. It's been a really crazy time for me. I think it's been a really crazy time for you guys too. I'm sure we're all kind of in there, in that stew pot. So, okay, so I just wanted to share that. I'm going to actually relax my senses and see if anything else comes to me before I share a special message with everybody, okay? So, okay. Nothing's really happening here. I don't feel like there's anything else I'm supposed to say right now. Well, one thought is, so during this time where I've been feeling kind of crunched by the energy, I've been feeling really crunched by the energy, and I'm like a one-man show, so that means like everything I do, I'm the only one doing it, and the more influx comes into my life, the more it's hard to know. Like, I have so many cookie jars out there, so it's hard to know how to keep in balance with everything. And so the crunch sensation can also inspire me to feel a little bit like less, like a little bit more, I don't know, inward, And so I oftentimes, when I don't feel like that happy jolliness, that I just sort of my natural balance style, and I feel like in my soul a deepness. I call out for angels. I'll tell you guys what I do when it gets like this. And I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of working with angels of any kind, because they're actually a reflection of wisdom, okay? So you have to remember that it's all a reflection of wisdom, and I don't pick up on, nobody talks to me, they feel to me. So I translate what they are feeling like. So I can feel sadness, I can feel happiness, I can feel childlike, I can feel anything. It's like the movie The Giver. He gives the memory, all right? The memory is not come in words. The memory comes in the experience, okay? So how I communicate with the spirit realm is an experience. And so obviously, for me, people ask me, well, how do you know you're not being manipulated? I understand where you're coming from, because as a human being, we don't know each other, and we're sort of not, we're kind of living without all of those sensory skills, and so we're taking chances all the time. We're just taking chances. We just go with the flow and see what happens. This is the point. That's the point. Is to not know. Is to be manipulated. Is fine. But the spirit realm is different. They actually can't hide the way they feel, and you can't hide the way you are either. So there's no hiding anything. That's why I have learned about brutal honesty, and brutal honesty is actually a hard thing to acquire. It's taken me years to be brutally honest with the spirit realm. It doesn't sound like it's that hard, but the more honest you are, the more shame you'll actually access within yourself. They'll come and ask you a question. You'll feel out a question, and you'll say, okay, I really don't want to admit this to you, but the reality is this, and it's just like, God, that hurt. that really hurt to say that, and I feel like a dope for saying that. And I don't know what else to do. And then that's when they're like radiating their sunlight and saying, Abby, we just wanted you to be honest. Because when you're honest, that's when you're truly yourself. And we already know what's going on before you even tell us. And it's actually something we're encouraging you to bring to the surface so you can heal yourself. And that's what interacting with the spirit realm is all about. So, so I'm talking about how to interact with the spirit realm without, through an experience of the spirit realm, not through like a human interaction. And you don't want to have a human interaction with the spirit realm. You want to have an experience interaction with the spirit realm. So, like, for instance, me talking with Archangel Lucifer, a lot of people don't feel comfortable with that, and I can understand. I come from a Christian background, so you can imagine my family doesn't feel comfortable with that, and they don't say anything. There's always elephants in the room, with me, and it's just part of my journey. We're just here to feel uncomfortable, try to conquer ourselves, be afraid, want to feel loved, ask the questions, why does my soul feel like a hard-boiled egg that's being crushed right now? All of that is what we came here to have, that experience. So as I'm the hard-boiled egg, I'm reaching out to the universe, and like, lo and behold, it's like Lucifer's coming into my life. It's like, wow, it's so wonderful that you're here. I'm so surprised. And I just allow myself to trust in the joy of that experience, because he's a wise master. He's a wise master, and he understands the value of the struggle. And that's actually what makes him such a great healer, because he actually is kind of, you could define him as the manifestation of chaos itself if you wanted to. But the manifestation of chaos itself also understands how hard that is. And what a blessing that is too. And he's an amazing healer. He's just an amazing healer because he knows how to get to the root of your struggle. So I've been working with him, Archangel Raziel, Archangel Metatron, kind of, but he's been kind of like on the sidelines with me. I've been working with Cryon a lot as well. Cryon is like Cryon is like kind of I don't know, he's his own guy. Like, his energy is not like anything. I have nothing to compare it with. I actually have nothing to compare Cryon's energy with. And he has the power to actually make me feel like everything's going to be okay. He's been the only one that actually can get into me in a way that I can feel like I could breathe again. But because he's so helpful, I actually don't want to get attached to that because it's sort of like sometimes taking the painkillers really helps with the pain, but it's also taking us away from experiencing the pain because it's part of the healing process, right? And so it's kind of an easy way out if I work with Cryon. Working with Cryon is an easy way out, so I actually have to ask him. I usually ask him to help me, and then it's like, okay, Cryon, you're helping me, but I really feel in my soul that this is probably something I need to feel a little bit more. So I'm gonna go back to being Abby again, and then feel it. And then I find myself like, oh, I don't want to feel this anymore. Anyway, so I've been doing journeys. And whenever I feel like this, I do journeys into myself, just like I do journeys into other people. And the journeys into myself are a little bit, they're not as easy as going into other people, because I feel myself and my own vulnerabilities. And because they're my vulnerabilities, I struggle to heal them because they're my vulnerabilities. Like, if it's somebody else's vulnerabilities, I could do it. It's kind of like you have a friend who's in a really crappy relationship, and you would know how to handle that partner of theirs, but they can't seem to talk to that partner of theirs the way you would. That's because you can't trade places. You can't actually help them other than to be a good listener and share advice and just be patient, So it's kind of like that with me. Like, it's really hard for me to heal myself. It's a lot easier for me to heal others. Anyway, but these journeys to heal myself have always taken me to a message about patience, perseverance, time, and transformation. And showing me the journey of my soul right now is actually leaving a very dense and kind of scary energy zone. Lucifer is showing me this, Raziel is showing me this, my higher self is showing me, spirit guides have shown me this. Cryon showed me something else that was really sweet. And it was all about, like, it was with rings. I'll tell you the Cryon thing first, and I'll tell you the other thing. Anyway, he was showing me, because I have kids too, and he was showing me like wedding rings, okay? And so, like a wedding ring is symbolic for union and loyalty, kind of thing, companionship, love, perseverance through hard times as well. I mean, it's the greatest love. It's a symbol of the greatest love that you could ever know. And so he was putting reflections of rings on my finger of the greatest loves that I've ever known. And it was so warm, and it was bringing me back to the reality of like friendship and family is so important right now. And it's the love of those connections, and it's the meaning of those connections. And no matter how bad life is, children are going to cheer you up, and friends are gonna listen, and and it's so it's been really beneficial. His message was really helpful for me. The other messages were very much on the same page of telling me, showing me that I'm going through a process of letting go a massive, what you would define as an energy weight, because I'm processing those experiences. I'm processing all of those experiences, which we can't even possibly imagine what it all means, because we're talking about a soul journey here. We're not just talking about Abby's life, we're talking about a soul journey. And I don't know how many timelines and how many layers of this my soul is reconciling right now. It's the only way I could define it. But it's making me squirm. And it's bringing stuff to the surface that I have got to look at. And I have a tendency to live kind of in a daydream, because I'm always thinking about the best possible scenario. And so I'm always living in my dreams of what I want to create and where I want to go. But the energy is really bringing me back, like home and center, to the reality of where I am right now. And what has helped me to get to the point of where I am right now. So it's bringing brutal honesty about things that I'm accepting of that, when really I need to be a little bit bolder and explore a different avenue with the way I'm handling this. And it's just sort of like bringing a lot of raw, honest realities to the surface that I wasn't able to see it in that way. I wasn't able to see it in that way before. And another thing, that crazy thing that happened, which I'm going to tell you guys, there's a little story about this, but I got bit by a tick. And it's like, okay, so here's the flat part of my head, and then it kind of comes to a curvature, and then there's the backside. It was right here. It's like a special, like there's an energetic center there, and I got bit right in the center of that. And it wasn't like it was feeding off of me. I mean, if I get Lyme disease, it's like it is what it is. But that tick bite was it was a reflection of a wake up call, because it was helping me to see several extremely important elements of my life that I needed to have a raw look at. And I think my soul squirming is kind of in anticipation for having to look at some difficult things and make changes with those. And the tick is sort of like a really loud symbol of it's time. It's like it's a wake up call, and you've got to look at these in a different way. So I feel like also the energy right now is about that. I hope you guys don't feel like it's too, like, beating the dead horse is like too much of the same information. So I hope you don't mind if I'm talking about this right now. I'm trying to channel my higher self, and it's just not working. I think I just need to talk. Like, I am my higher self. So in a way, I'm like, my higher self is talking to you right now. I choose to align with that. I really do. Sometimes I do feel like Abby. I kind of feel more like Abby right now than like some ultimate higher self, but anyway, so I had in one of these journeys, I actually I saw a reflection of myself. This is kind of important. I think you guys might appreciate this perspective. But I saw a version of myself, and I was roped to a chair in a dungeon basement, and I had a clown makeup on and a happy face. And no matter how much I was frowning, nobody could tell, because I was always smiling. And this is kind of interesting because I remember there was a time when I was 16 specifically, and I was a cash register girl at the grocery store, and I was ringing people up, and I was so depressed at that time. I was always like dying inside, and I would ask myself inside myself, it's like, I'm always so happy, but I don't, like, the world doesn't allow me to tell the world that I want to die. Like, I'm not allowed to tell the world that I want to die. I'm only allowed to tell the world, hi, how are you? And smile and try to make the world happy. But I don't have the right to actually be honest with the world about how I feel. And that was like, that has stuck with me for a long time. I think we all feel that way. We don't have a right to tell the world truly honestly about what's going on in our lives. I still can't tell the world about some things that have happened in my life that I feel could actually help people going through the same thing. Some things you just can't talk about because, there's a judgmental world, and it can alter the pathway of things in your life based on how people want to judge you. So anyway, but so as this clown, this was actually tattooed on my face, so I couldn't even wash it off. And Lucifer was there, and Raziel was there, and Lucifer was sort of creating the intimidation or the threat or the fear and the sorrow. It was coming from this place, and I can't remember what it was. I remember now. Okay, I had to say an affirmation. I'm not a joke. I'm not a joke. I'm serious. People take me seriously. And that was what I was supposed to say. I was supposed to say that. And I'll tell you another story. When I was 24, I was still in college because I took time off of college. I kind of lived it, I went through some extremely hard things when I was in college, and I was having struggles mentally, and I had to take time off because I couldn't focus on school. And then there was a time where I actually was in Belfast, where I went to school for 2 semesters, and I wasn't able to take as many courses, so it kind of took a long time to graduate from college, but I did. And that last year of college, I didn't have any friends. I had nobody to talk to, and it was very quiet. It was too quiet, and I was too alone, and I was really struggling. I mean, I had already suffered from depression for all this long time. Plus, I was, a heavy drinker. I never really felt. I felt like I was an invisible person in a world full of people. And I felt like, also kind of like, there were times I don't know how to describe it, but like I was a blind person in an insane asylum. But I could see and they couldn't see. Somehow I could see what other people weren't seeing within themselves, and I couldn't get them to see me. Like, this is like I was so invisible all the time. I didn't even know why I even existed. That's why I wanted to die. What's the point of being in a world full of people if you don't really exist? You might as well not exist. It's kind of the concept of that. But you see, all this stuff is what makes me who I am today, and why I can do the work I can today, because I can really relate to suffering. I really can relate to the suffering of people, because I too suffered really, really, really hard, hardcore suffering. Well, at that time, I had a conversation with God about feeling like I was the butt of God's joke. Like, I was the butt of God's joke because I was an invisible person living in a world full of people. Like, what a fucking joke. Like nobody can see me. And so there was something about this. There's something about this image of the clown face, and it tattooed to my skin, and being the butt of God's joke, and the only way to set myself free from this place, from this energy place, which is all about what's going on right now for me energetically, how I'm changing, how I'm transforming, is all about this, was to say I am not a joke, and I am taken seriously, and people take me seriously. Another thing you guys that wouldn't be aware of is that this has followed me a lot of years of my life, which is why I strive so hard to be so intelligent, yeah, and be such a intelligent speaker. And I don't think I've quite lassoed the gift of like speaking, but but people, like, I often has never been taken, like, people don't really take me seriously. They don't think that I've often been called ditzy, airhead, stuff like that. And nobody really got me, and nobody really wanted to get me. And so I always felt like nobody ever took me seriously. That was the other thing. I've never felt really taken seriously. And I always felt like I was the butt of some joke. So you can see how this right now, this journey here teaching me about myself, all the energies going on right now, this happened this week, it's time for me to acknowledge that I'm not a joke. I'm a real person. This is serious, and I am taken seriously. I am taken seriously because I got to wash that old energy out, those old programs out, because that's not who I am today. That's how I felt at one time, but that really isn't how I feel today. And I need to no longer be holding on to that stuff, because that's not who I am. And so once I did that, all of the the ropes around me dissolved, and then I was able to stand up. And Lucifer and Raziel said, they actually, it was sort of like an image of them kicking me in the butt out of this place. And they were saying, we don't ever want to see you in here ever again. That's what they did. And I was just like, well, I don't want to come back down here. My intention is not to ever come back down here. But the reality is, I seem to find my way into this place. I don't mean to. I really don't mean to. And both were kind of chuckling, because they're like, Abby, you'll never be able to come into this place. We just got you out of this place, and your energy is changing, and the vibration and what you're working with and your meaning and all that is changing. So you're actually never going to be able to go back in there. So I was like, oh, okay, well, that makes me feel better. That's when I stepped into an elevator. The elevator took me from the dungeon basement, and it just went up and up and up and up and up and up and up, and I was in the clouds. We're talking thousands of feet into the air, a tall building, and it was so fancy in there. And it reminded me, you guys ever go to a super fancy restaurant? I'm not just I'm going to a restaurant with a family on Sunday night or something, but super, super ritzy, like several $100s for a meal. Anyway, I'll tell you another story. So at the top of this building in my journey was a really swanky restaurant. And I will tell you, when I worked at the Principal, which is a life insurance, 401ks, all that kind of stuff. So I worked there, and the first week that I was working there, I got to walk in the skywalks, which was so new to me because I never worked downtown before. I got to walk in the skywalks, and then they were giving all the employees a discount to go to the Ruron building, which is a really fancy, they have that's 34 floors high, and they have a really nice restaurant up there. So I got to take my coupon, and I got to go up there for lunch, which was a buffet. And oh my God, I felt so special. I was beaming walking through the skywalks, because it was so special to me to get to do that. And then I get to walk to the Ruron building, and then I get to go to the top of the Ruron building. And then I get to eat a fancy meal. Oh, I felt so special. And they have professional butlers or something. They're so awesome. I feel like Batman, because the way they treat you is so you're a special person. It's really cool. So at the top of this in my journey was just emanating exactly that memory that I had. And where I'm going vibrationally is from what was all this painful junk that was defining my worth and value. I was defining my own worth and value based on how I felt that I was perceived by people, and how people were treating me. You know what I mean? So, is my video camera keeping up with me? It is. I think so. Anyway, so so all that's cleared out. And this, you see what, we're a collective here. So this is Abby's experience right now. And Abby's experience isn't my only experience. I'm not the only one. I'm just an echo of what everybody else is experiencing, something similar, something along those lines as well. And I think in the end, we can all say that we're developing, we're reconciling, we're coming to realizations, we're making choices, we're turning corners, we're expanding. and we're letting go of what wasn't working and what we weren't able to see within ourselves before, and it's big, and it's making us feel like a hard-boiled egg is getting crunched a little bit, but we're gonna get through this. It's actually a really good thing. So that tick bite has actually been bothering the back of my head for like a week and a half, but I mean, I don't like I've had some really big moments this week, especially this morning, where I came to reconciliation with some major things. And we're talking like out loud conversations with people that I would never have, you know? And after that like pain in the back of my head just went away. Like I don't feel it anymore. I don't feel the tick feeling. I don't feel like the creepy crawly thing anymore. Like I feel actually like I did what I meant to do. The tick was sort of a symbol, like a it's an alarm clock. Like wake up. You need to start seeing things differently and doing things differently. So so I feel like I've conquered another thing. It hasn't felt very good. It's felt really difficult, but I've conquered another thing, and I'm and it's good. It's keeping me going, right? It's keeping me going. So, hmm. So what do you guys do when you feel the struggle? Like what do you do when you feel the pressure? For me, obviously, I have a lot easier time accessing energy and spirits and angels and all that stuff than your average bear, because I do that for a living. Like that's my life. That's what my experience is all about. I also take the time to allow myself like a visualization technique. This is super easy for people who aren't there yet. You just gotta trust in the experience, okay? That's how you start getting there, okay? And even for me, when I was in college, like I was learning about visualization techniques. And I didn't realize the word visualization actually meant just go into your imagination. That's how you visualize. You just actually step into your imagination. I was trying to like see it, and then somehow like I don't get hands on with the image. But what you need to do is get hands on with the image, and you need to experience the image, okay? Not just see it. And oftentimes you're not going to see it very clearly, because part of seeing it is experiencing it, okay? That's why some people feel like their third eye is blocked, because they're resisting the experience of the image. They're wanting to just see it, but you need to also experience it. So the visualization I actually did last night and this morning too was I just chose to experience myself surrounded by a really lovely, warm, glowing light. And it was soft and gentle. And I'm experiencing it right now. Like right now in my visualization world, I am sitting like a Buddha and I'm cross-legged and I'm experiencing the flow of energy around me. And it's beautiful, it's warm, it's full of sunlight. There's a bright star in the sky, like a sun in itself, but it's a star. Where did that come from? I didn't make that up. I it just appeared in my visualization. That actually just appeared. A star did. It just appeared. So I'm just allowing it to be there. It wants to be there. So I say, okay, cool, you're there. So in my experience here, there's a star now, and it's like a sun very, very far away. And I allow myself to continue to inhale this warm energy and this warm light, and I just inhale it into all that I am, okay? Oh, it's so wonderful because it makes me feel warm inside. It reminds me of sunny, happy days. It brings in images of like any time, like, a sunny beach, a sunrise or a sunset. Beautiful memories with the kids playing outside, things like what sun gives to us, like flowers, like springtime growth, stuff like that. So I'm just, as I inhale this, I'm experiencing the inhalation of energy. How do you experience the inhalation of energy? Well, you can physically breathe in while you experience yourself in the imagination, surrounded by the sunny light, inhaling it in your imagination as well, okay? And you're experiencing the warmth. And as you experience the warmth, it fills you with these images that are super wonderful, okay? And they're warm and they're full of sunshine, and we just welcome that. We welcome sunshine. We welcome warmth. So we gotta allow ourselves to to have these moments, because these are soul moments. And the more soul moments that we have in our human world, the more connected we feel to love. And too much human world, it gets very raw and very empty, and disconnected, and it gets lost within itself. And so we have to connect with the only thing that is real, is truly what I long for, which is balance with love. Everybody longs to feel the balance of love. Even if we think the balance of love is having more money, even if we think the balance of love is having our soulmate with us. The thing is, we all long for the balance of love. So you see the value of honesty. Because if we're not being deeply honest, then we're gravitating towards financial wealth. Then we're gravitating towards, I have to have a companion in order to be happy. So we're gravitating towards these things when we need to go deeper. And we need to go into an honest place. What is it that I'm truly looking for? And what is in the deepest place is love. You're not looking for money, and you're not looking for your soulmate. You're actually looking to heal yourself. You're looking to find yourself. You are looking to bask in God's love. That is what we're all looking for. That's what we're all longing for. So I'm just going to make this a video. And I want to make you guys another video. And I'm going to channel my higher self, okay? I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you guys don't mind. I'm making YouTube videos, and then I'm going to make Patreon videos. And I kind of want to separate the two. Instead of putting my YouTube videos on Patreon, I kind of just keep them on YouTube. Even it's confusing for me. Do you see why this is confusing for me? Because I want to have special sharing here. But I kind of need to keep them separated. Anyway, I'm sharing this video here with you guys, and it feels good to just talk to all of you a little bit more deeply about real life stuff. And I think Patreon gives me that freedom with you guys way more than YouTube does, and that brings me a lot of peace. That brings a lot of peace to my soul, because I share so much, but I don't always get to share the real me, And so this gives me a little bit more of an avenue to share the real me. And I want to just thank you guys for your patience in me sharing here again. And all of your love and support is very generous and kind, and helps me out a lot in my life. And so I just wanted to share that. I'm going to get caught up on all the comments and the community section and my messages. And I want to really integrate all that into my being and see what I'm inspired to share next, okay? So, and I'm going to make another video now with my higher self. So, all right, you guys, you're wonderful. I really appreciate you. And just, I just wish you a really bright and wonderful, day, rest of your day.